Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new episode of the Nitro Racing League here on the channel. Today we got quite the big episode, the regular season finale at Daytona International Speedway. Very excited to get this one underway, and we got some other news coming towards the end of this video with a champion of the series announcing that they will be retiring from the NASCAR Heat side of league racing at the end of the season of the Nitro League. But we come through here into the start of Daytona where I qualified in P12. I'm not really a driver that's very good when it comes to plate racing on NASCAR Heat. Now, as you can see right off the bat, things would get all over the place here as we were underway on lap 1 of 24. Overall, 80 lap race, and as you guys know, in the Nitro Racing League for stage 1 and 2, it is 5 drivers that get stage points now as we come through the center of 1 and 2. And really, the playoff grid is going to not really change compared to last race unless we get a new winner that's below the cut line. So you can go back to the last video and maybe check on that now as we came through, cutting down in front of the 42 there of Cameron as we went down into turn 3 behind our teammate of Jonathan. As you guys know, now Eddie in the 18 car is one of our new teammates. Bryce has left the 18. He's now in the 96 car for this race. He's only doing a part-time schedule, so you'll see him at some point still throughout the season and whatnot, but not very often now as we come through the trial. Well, now after the first lap, we were up into the 6th position, so we gained 6 spots there in our first lap as I would already try to make some moves to the outside, and it would not work. And for a change here in the Nitro Racing League, we actually had draft on this time now as we actually got hit by Bryce on the back straightaway on lap 2 after he had a bit of a moment with some lag, and that's why he unfortunately slammed me there into the wall now as we would drop all the way down into the last position after working our way back forwards now. So we come through on lap 4, and now we got to the inside of the 24 of Connor there, so moving back up into P15 as we would just try to work our way back forwards now. And I continued to try and make some moves here early on towards the outside, and each and every time it wasn't working now as we have trouble up in front of us, and we're actually a part of the first crash of the race here as we had nowhere to go. This car is continuing to go around the 24 and the 8. The caution would come out for the first time here tonight in Daytona, so we would all get ready to go back. I actually didn't have to go to the back of the field because of keeping the car going in the right direction. I never went actually around, so the choose cone this time wasn't actually at the start finish line. It was at that patch of asphalt that you guys saw there into turn 3 that we were using as our choose cone. So we came through now P5 after all of that, so we actually somehow gained time out of that whole situation as we were back underway here on the 7th lap. The 10 car of Blake out in front with Bryce in the 96 up there. Then we had our teammate of Matt in the mix, and then Jay in the 95 as well. Then we had Andrew right in front of us here as we go down the back straightaway into turn 3. So just kind of chilling on the bottom here now as we were all kind of trying to work together with our JGR teammates and whatnot. And our main goal here in the first 2 stages really was to help Jay the best we could, get him as many stage points as we could. Now, as you would go to the outside, you saw the 10 car had a bit of a lag spike. Unfortunately, moved the 9 car backwards. But unfortunately, the outside again really was not going to work now as Bryce actually forced it to rewind down the front straightaway into turn 1. So I'm able to get back down though behind Andrew there in that 9 car. So we would settle in behind him. That outside lane really wouldn't stick. The outside was really hard to get working now, especially of course when there was an advantage of more cars on the bottom, but we would end up getting our second caution of the day for a small incident that happened at the back of the field. So we all came into, or not all of us, but a bunch of us came into the pit lane as you saw Andrew and Blake, the top 2 drivers, stay out. So we came through back for the restart, now down in about P9 or so here as we would get underway with 13 laps to go in this first and opening stage now as we get towards that inside of the 95 of Jay. And right now, as of how things are going, Jay is inside of the playoffs, but he's a driver where maybe if the 10 car was to win this race or something, Jay would get eliminated from the playoff contention. So he's got to be really careful here as we come through the center of 3 and now out of turn 4, and we would re-enter the top 5 right behind Cameron. There's I shoot to the outside as he went to the bottom, and once again the outside's just not going to work as I get a big push though from the 24 of Connor, and that completely changes everything here. It gives us another run as we go down this front straightaway. He nearly gave us so much of a push that we hit the wall now as we would continue though down the back straightaway. Unfortunately, the 10 car would move up right in front of us here down the back straightaway and destroy any momentum that we had rolling in our direction now as we go down into turn 3. So now the whole run just gets destroyed. We start fading here as I was looking for an opportunity to get down to the bottom, and I would drop all the way down into 10th place or so by the time I was able to get to the inside here on lap 15 now as we were following the 41 of Christian up the inside of the 10 of Blake, who had fallen quite a ways down, as well as you see Karma there is currently ghosted now as the 41 actually put the 24 in the outside wall there, as it looked like Christian ran into the back of his teammate while he was trying to make a move to the outside, and then he unfortunately slammed into the 24, put him in the wall too. Now as we came through now on the end of lap 15, I jumped up to the outside again to help Eddie, and once again that did not work, so we fall down again to about P11 or so as we came through on lap 18. Now once again up the inside of Matt there in the number 20, and then up the inside of the 34 as we come through out of turn 2. But definitely not the start of this race we've been hoping for now, as there's a big run there. I was hoping to jump to the outside, but I couldn't quite do it in time, and then I ran into the back of the 18 of Eddie now as we go down into turn 3, so just chilling behind him now, as it was the 9 of Andrew out in front over our teammate of Jonathan there in that number 19 car. But once again, myself and Eddie would eventually jump up to the outside, and as you can imagine, it did not work again now, as there's actually a bit of a stack up there though on the inside, and that allows myself and Eddie to get enough of a run that we might actually be able to carry this momentum past the 9 of Andrew and somehow get ourselves into P1 and P2 with about 5 laps to go once we hit the line here in stage 1. Sure enough, we come through on lap 20, and unfortunately I couldn't get to the bottom there, but Eddie was able to get to the bottom, hold on to the lead, as I would now be in a little bit of trouble here on the top. And myself and the 24 of Connor would both just fade all the way down the order there. As you saw the 19 on the apron there was some contact up towards the front, but we dropped once again all the way down to P10 here with 4 laps remaining in stage 1. As you guys know, there's absolutely no playoff drama for myself right now as we go 3 wide up the inside of the 42 there, making a pass on him. So we are locked into the playoffs, and I'll show the playoff grid, of course, at the end of this video, but we are towards the top of the playoff grid now as I would get in behind Andrew, and I moved up right there because I thought there was a potential incident coming. So that was just a mistake on my part. So we would drop down now to P11. Then we came through now to 2 laps to go on the stage. There you see Andrew got put in the wall and came down right in front of me there. The terrible timing that was now, as he obviously was just trying to hang on to his car. So it was all messed up. We came through to the line and ended up only getting the 10th position here in stage 1. So not what we were looking for, to say the least, but hopefully we can turn it around here in the second stage. As you see the rest of the order, we had MJ down in 12th, Jay in 13th, then we had Tyler in the 48 down in like 14th, and then at the very bottom we had Venom, and then we had someone else that I think it was Bryce that was at the very bottom. Now as you get underway though for the start of the second stage here from the 10th position, 22 laps here in stage 2. Stage 1 was a little bit wild, to say the least now, so I was kind of anticipating the same here in the second stage. And if I know the Nitro Racing League well enough, I know that most of this race will be pretty entertaining, and then probably the last 15 laps or so, everyone's just going to ride in a single file line now. And speaking of single file lines, here we go right now at the beginning of the stage, but we would come through now going into turn 1 on lap 2, a huge run to the back of the 48 here as I go to the outside, but then he gets nailed into the wall at the terrible, or the worst timing possible, and I get completely cleaned out, and then he wrecks the 8 car, ends up going up and over somehow. Now it's a caution comes out. That's the second incident we've been a part of here today, but we would just come into the pit lane, go to the choose cone, choose the bottom on the choose cone, and we would get back underway here once again now as we were in 14th place on the inside lane. So we come through now on lap 5. You see the 34 hung out in the middle. I once again jump up to the outside trying to make something happen. I saw my teammates up here like Matt and the 20, the 18 of Eddie as well, and then I think Jonathan was up there in the mix too, leading this outside line. So I decided to jump up here. Then we had our affiliate teammate Jay who was trying to get involved, and then the 24 of Connor was coming through, and then the 88 of MJ. So this outside line was starting to gain a bunch of people, and you could see the difference it would make as soon as we would get enough cars up here. We would all just kind of charge towards the front of this pack, and sure enough, the JGR drivers find their way to the front here in Daytona now as we came through on lap 7 of the stage. We could have all dropped down right here, but we didn't have the best kind of communication right there, and as everyone said to drop down, unfortunately it's the 24 of Connor. He had dropped down moments before they had mentioned it, and he was able to get under me, so I kind of got hung out there, and I would drop all the way down to P15 after that had happened behind MJ and Jay. So that was very unfortunate to say the least now as we came through on lap 10 of the second stage, and then we came through to lap 11 now up the inside of Matt, who had gotten hung out now as we were back into the top 10. Then we got up the inside of Jay. You saw the 24 of Connor up there on the outside. Now as we came through though, once again reconnected with Matt there as he would actually get back past me. We would, like I said, get connected and move our way forwards once again. We were up towards the top 5 here in the last little bit of this second stage here on lap lap 16, so we were moving our way forwards. Now as the 24 of Connor gets up the inside, some contact, it looked like, between him and his teammate of Tyler, that was. Now as we came through down the back straightaway on lap 17, a bit of a leg spike there from the 48 car as we come through, dropping back down to the bottom as we realized right there that the outside line wasn't going to go anywhere. But I continued to follow my teammate Matt here as we came through to lap 18 of the stage. We both go back to the top, and this was a terrible decision to make right here. This flopped very hard once again now, as we would end up getting passed by the 8 car, but we would actually end up getting another caution due to an incident that happened towards the back of the field. So we would get underway for just a 3-lap dash here to end the second stage, right behind the 20 there of Matt, as we would be underway from the 12th position. But so far, definitely, to say the least, not the race we've been looking for here in Daytona. But obviously, this race really doesn't matter for us, though. Any playoff points that we could get would still be a nice help to have as we come through the center of 1 and 2. The 10 of Blake getting down there just in front of Matt now as we come through down this back straightaway. So just a few laps to go. We come through to 2 to go. Now some 3 wide racing here in front of us as we were all getting slowed up. The 24 into the outside wall, a very short end of the stick he was handed right there. Now as we go down the back straightaway, some contact there. The 10 into the wall, the 8 all the way to the bottom. I move to the right to make sure nothing happens there, and then I'm going to be able to come down in front of Venom there, just in front of the 88 of MJ as well, who goes to my outside as we came through the center of 3 and 4. Then we come through down the front straightaway. Now another check of the 20 goes to the bottom. I get nailed from behind, and then I had a little bit of contact, it looked like, with the 20, and then unfortunately I hit Christian into the outside wall. He would go crashing out of that situation now as we go down into turn 1, clearing Matt. That was just a bad situation all around, bad timing, where I got a huge hit from the 8 car, who was just trying to help me, of course. And then Matt went down to the under the double yellow line, and it just got all messed over. And then I saw the contact coming with the 20, so I moved right. And then unfortunately, Christian was in my path here as we go down this back straightaway into turn 3 for the final time in stage 2. Unfortunately, Andrew hit the outside wall there, trying to make a move to the outside. So we all kind of get stalled up now as we come through the center of 3 and out of turns 4 on this final lap in stage 2. Matt's going to get all the way back to my inside, and he's going to be able to beat me to the line, it looks like, here as we come through down the front straightaway, crossing the line for once again a very disappointing stage finish of 8th, as it looked like it was the 19 of Jonathan who would end up winning the second stage now as we get ready to go green for the third and final stage of the regular season here in the Nitro Racing League. Myself, Matt, and Jay would all stay out, though, on the pit lane and put ourselves up in the top 3. And the reason we did this, because unfortunately, Jay did not get any stage points whatsoever in considering his position in the playoffs. We were hoping to help him get points in stage 1 and 2. And of course, like I just said, he didn't get any. So now we were looking at trying to help him here potentially in this third and final stage now as we get back underway. Not a great restart for myself, unfortunately, as we go down into turn 1. And you can see here, it's only about 28 laps in the third and final stage, but then Jonathan decides he's going to let me in here as we come to the center of turns 1 and 2. So we drop down into the bottom lane and hold on now to the 4th position as they would actually go crashing behind us now. A bunch of cars, the 42 I saw involved maybe the 88 car, a bunch of them just all over the place, and as you can imagine, that would bring out a caution. So we would just get right back underway here. Now, as you can see, the choose cone rule only had 3 cars or so on the top lane for this restart. That was a very awkward restart, to say the least, now as we'd be back underway, but the outside was a huge disadvantage today, and it honestly felt like with the higher draft, it made it even harder for that outside line to get going now. I very well could be wrong about that now as we come through, though, on lap 55, still running P4 behind Tyler, as we'd now gotten past our teammate of Jonathan, but it was Matt and Jay running P1 and P2, but then they would actually have another incident here on lap 56 as we go down into turns. We saw the 8 car and the 4 all involved. That was a big hit in the back there, and as you can imagine, the caution's going to come out again, and I actually gave up the bottom there because I was paying attention to what was happening in that crash, and I just didn't turn enough, and I ended up losing a few spots. But we would all, of course, do the whole pit cycle and whatnot, go through the choose cone, and we restarted right here behind the 9 of Andrew Wisdom, now with just over 20 laps to go in the Daytona regular season finale. But I would jump back down to the bottom immediately here on the back straightaway behind Andrew, who was also able to get to the bottom now as we would pass the 42 of Cameron into turn 3. But now Jay was leading over second place of Matt, and you can kind of see what's starting to happen here is people are starting to go single file now within the final 20 laps of this race, and myself and Andrew were like the only ones right now at this moment trying to do anything. It felt like we had Bryce trying to get up in the mix a little bit, and then the 10 car of Blake was also trying to do some stuff, but it really was very limited in terms of who was going to try and do anything at this point now as we go down the back straightaway. This is definitely one of the most frustrating aspects of plate racing, just not in the Nitro Racing League, but just in league racing in general now. As we came through there, a bit of a moment with Bryce, who went under the line, then we made contact, and then we clear him into turn 1 on lap 64. So I'm up and now into P7 right behind Andrew, as you would just kind of stay with him. I knew I could count on Andrew to actually try something, so I decided to follow him every time he went to do something. Now to show him I'm going to help him any chance I can get. So we go into turn 3 right behind him on lap 67 now, as he actually ends up cutting off the 10 car there. A little bit of contact between them. The 10 car checks up because of the contact, and now I get down right behind Andrew, so we gained another spot into P6 as we came through on lap 69. Nice now, still running P6 behind Andrew. Wisdom now as we came through. Now a little bit of a moment there behind us actually between Bryce and the 10, but we come through now on lap 70, and I'm still doing everything I can to just kind of help Andrew. Unfortunately, the 42 of Cameron was able to get to my bottom, and now the 10 car of Blake was going to come through as well, and then Bryce is going to jump down. So now we're going to drop down to the last car in this lead pack here in the 9th position with just 10 laps to go, but you can just see no one is making a move. So it was so frustrating. Now as going to turn 1, I feel like I complain about this every time we do a plate race, but now we come through the center of 1 and 2. Actually, we were now P8 because Bryce had a moment and lost the draft after some contact as well, I should mention now, with just 8 laps to go though in this race. The 19 of Jonathan, he would actually get forced out, so he would drop back behind us, so we were now up into the 7th position, and then we come through to 5 laps to go, and you can just see the same thing. The last 20 laps of this race or so, pretty much the same thing happened the whole time. So we come through approaching 3 laps to go. The 10 car, he was trying to make moves, and I was really wanting to go with him, but I saw no one else would, so I just realized it wasn't really going to get us anywhere. So we were really just hanging on to the end of this race now as we come through to 2 laps to go here in Daytona, and it was still Jay and Matt 1, 2, and then in 3rd place was actually the 34 car at this point now as we come through out of turn 2. So coming through to the final lap, and Jay, this win will make sure he's of course in the playoffs now, as if he finishes in 2nd right now, he'll also still make the playoffs as we go down into turn 1 on the final lap here in Daytona, expecting hopefully someone's gonna at least try to make a move here and do something as we come through out of turn 2. I was laying back quite a bit there to try and build up a run. Then I decided to check him out. I get a huge hit from behind from the 10 of Blake, who goes to the outside now as we go down this back straightaway. Then I'm going to decide to follow him. Someone's got to try something here as we go down into turn 3 side by side with Andrew. Wisdom now as the 42 of Cameron's right behind us. They're still up the inside. The 34 hit the apron. Some contact kind of happening here as we exit turn 4. Contact as well with the 42 of Cameron, but coming through down the front straightaway into the travel. Jay is going to come through to win in Daytona after holding off Karma when he tried to make a move up the outside and couldn't quite pull it off now. So his first win of the season here in Daytona now as we come through to cross the line at P7 there in a 3 wide finish with the 10 of Blake and the 42 of Cameron. So the playoff grid has been set with the finishing results here, but first, here comes the retirement announcement after the race here in our Discord server. Andrew Wisdom has announced that he will be retiring from the Nitro Racing League on the NASCAR Heat side of things after this season. Kind of honestly unfortunate. He's been the person I consider to be my biggest competitor since I've come into the Nitro Racing League, so I'm certainly going to miss being able to race against him, although we've definitely had our differences at times. But yeah, like I said, it's going to kind of suck racing without him on a week-to-week basis now. I think he's still going to be doing the iRacing stuff, if I'm not mistaken, now on the Nitro Racing side of things. But here is the playoff grid before we end this episode. There you see Andrew, P1, myself, P2, 18 points above the cut line for the first round. Then we got Jonathan, and then Tyler, and then Edward, and then we got the 24 of Connor. Then we got Jay, Matt at the very bottom of being above the cut line, and then the 2 drivers on the outside looking in is Durham and then Venom. So definitely going to be an interesting playoffs. Now Andrew won the championship last season. Hopefully we can come out and get our 2nd championship of our Nitro Racing career this season. Now, as you've had a good regular season, up and down to say the least. We've won like 5 races. I missed a few, or like 3 or 4 races or something like that, and then we've had some bad luck with some bad finishes, but it's going to be an interesting playoff to say the least. So as always, if you guys enjoyed this episode, you do know what to do, and I'm very excited, like I said, to to get going for the playoffs. I don't know where we're actually going for the first race of the playoffs, but hopefully I'll be able to tell you guys maybe in the comments section when this video goes up. But just before we end things, I just want to say thank you to the Going Racing members here of MJ, Aiden, Tony, Dylan, Joseph 9001, RJ, Timothy A, Bubba Jr., Mr. Johnson 2, as well as NASCAR on Docks. As I say every time, you guys help me a lot, and I really appreciate it, and I'd like to thank everybody for taking the time out of their day to watch this episode, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you for watching, everybody, and have yourselves a great day.